And a very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Issues and Attitudes. My name is Jeff Owens, General Manager at WEIU. Today we're going to talk to the Master Gardeners, Coles County and all the other counties around. We always hear about this time of year. Diana Glosser, welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Kathy Hummell.
Wonderful to be here, Jeff.
Great to see you. We have, if you're watching on TV, we have flowers, we have broccoli plants. And her last show, because she's graduating EIU, my co-host, Michelle Bravo.
Hi.
Hello. And she is going to eat a piece of broccoli that they brought in if you're watching on TV. Broccoli leaf, I'm sorry,
Right.
broccoli leaf. So go ahead and try that, Michelle, and we'll get your comments after we get started. All right? So I guess the big thing that is your the plant sale and garden event is this weekend. So why don't you both talk about what people can expect?
May 13th weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, the next weekend. I'm sorry.
Right,
Yeah. 2 weeks. So
No,
talk about what people
don't
can expect.
move it any closer.
May 13th. Go ahead.
Well, we have lots of plants, and part of our difficulty this year was that we had no greenhouse to grow in. The one that the Sarah Bush Lincoln Health Center had so graciously allowed us to use was getting very rickety. It was at least 25 years old. And when you were in it during a windstorm, you wanted to get out. So they tore it down and have not gotten the new one up yet. So to compensate for that, several of the master gardeners tried making little mini greenhouses and out of milk cartons. And we have grown several of our plants in there. And then we're also purchasing some from the greenhouse in Shelbyville.
And you said you had 100 of these?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Not all broccoli.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the event takes place at Lytle Park, Diana? You want to go into some
Takes
details
place
there?
at Lytle Park, Saturday, May 13th from 9 to 12. And it's that big opening day for Lytle Park, and we're very excited about being part of that again. So we have an outdoor venue. Please come. We'll have plants ready. I know, Kathy, when did you start these plants in the
I
milk
started
cartons?
this on January 16th and
Wow.
left it out all winter, did nothing to it. So we'll be having a workshop on winter sowing in the fall.
So these will be transplanted, so they'll be easy to transport for the person. And although that really maybe doesn't look like a broccoli plant yet to most people because they want to see those flowers that you consume, but that is the flower head. And
Okay.
it's going to take about another 40 days for that.
That's what I was going to ask. How long do you actually see what people would know as, traditional,
Recognize it as broccoli.
recognizable broccoli? There you
Yeah.
go. So
But in
another
the-
40 days.
In the meantime, you can eat some of the leaves.
Michelle, your thoughts?
Yeah, it tastes like spinach.
Tastes
don't
like
know.
spinach.
It's sweet, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. You okay with it, though? You did? I didn't think it was bad.
Yeah,
I tried
it's
it.
pretty good.
There you go.
So we'll have broccoli, and there will be a variety of vegetables and plants and some house plants.
And hanging baskets.
And hanging baskets, just the day before Mother's Day. So if you need to do some last minute
That's
shopping,
perfect timing.
it's a perfect time.
Right.
And then there'll be other vendors there as well. So it's that
Correct.
big day
Yeah.
where they have everybody there, right?
Mhm,
Yes.
mhm.
There'll
Yeah.
be plants, there'll be crafts, there'll be some arts, there'll be all kinds of things.
Beautiful things for your garden to spruce it up.
There you go. Michelle?
So, how long have you guys been doing this for?
Oh, I've been in for 25 years, and we've done it for that long at least. And the regional group has been in existence, I think, for 28 years. I'm not real sure on that. But
Master Gardeners began in 1993. Rose Myers Bradley was the director then, and it is a volunteer group. You are trained through the University of Illinois. Mostly what I learned during my 12-week training was how little I did know.
Right.
But you got really good at finding good evidence-based answers. So
that's what they emphasize, is looking it up on EDU sites.
Yes.
Mhm.
And so that started, one of the major things we do is education. And I know Kathy's going to talk a little bit about some of the things that we support. I'd like to first mention, I'll just start by saying
Sure, that's fine.
Jefferson School has a garden, and that was started by one of our members, Carolyn Carcasi, and a teacher there at Jefferson. So
Her name was brought up this morning in our meeting because I told our staff meeting that you were coming, and they go, "Oh, Caroline Carcasi, you should have her on sometime."
Yes.
So,
Yes.
that's funny.
Yes.
So-
There are many things she could
Yeah.
talk about. And so she's working with students there at Jefferson, teaching them how to grow and how, teaching others how to grow is our tagline for our Master Gardener groups. So that is one of the places. And they have work days, Mondays and Wednesdays at 3:30.
I want to go back to Sarah Bush a little bit because I know that the greenhouse out there had been there for 25 some years. So they will get it redone for next year. Your hope is that the game
Yes,
plan?
the frame of it has been sitting out in the parking lot by there, but they haven't had the person power to be able to do it. So hopefully when they have their summer interns this summer, they can get it up and running.
Get you going. The other thing that you wanted to talk about, well, some of your events, but there's an invasive worm that's coming in around this area. Can you talk about what it is and how we can get rid of it?
Well, to start out, we can't get rid of it. They haven't found a way yet.
Okay.
There have been many experiments trying it, but whatever you try to use on them also affects the rest of the environment. So that's the bad news. And there is no good news about it, actually. It's the Asian jumping worm, and it's called that because if you touch it, it just goes wild. And the fisher people like it for fishing because it wiggles and attracts a fish. But then one of the problems is after they get done and they have worms left, if they throw them out on the ground thinking, oh, worms are good, I'll help the environment. No, that they just propagate. They're how do you say that? Hermaphroditic?
Hermaphrodite.
Yeah. So they don't need male and female to produce, and
And nothing can be done about them?
not yet.
So what is your, I guess, advice for people to try to avoid this invasion of
Well-
what would you call them, the Asian jumping worm?
Right, right. One of their hallmarks is, we think of worms as good. Oh, they help the soil. Not these guys. When their droppings, which are usually so sought after by gardeners, not their droppings, but droppings, turn the soil into a coffee-like mix that doesn't grow anything. It destroys the soil texture. That's the main part of it, because once you got them, they're really hard to get rid of, and you can't grow anything in that soil.
Wow, that's
So,
terrible.
yeah.
So talk about, I know Diana had mentioned you had a couple of other events you wanted to make sure that we got out today. So go ahead and wherever you want to start, just kind of pick and choose and go through some of those.
Well, one of the things I wanted to add about the jumping worms, that's the reason we no longer dig plants from our own gardens.
Thank you.
Okay.
Which was one of the traditional things we did for the plant sale, and that many people were very interested in that plant sharing. Even though invasive worms have not been identified in Coles County yet, they are encouraging people not to share plant material. Even though you may rinse or wash the roots thinking of a bare root plant, it doesn't take away the eggs of the worms.
And
so
the eggs
they
are
could-
almost microscopic.
Oh, wow.
So there's nothing that will really change that. So by not sharing dug up plant materials and moving it particularly across counties or across state lines, then that's one of the best things we can do. So when I propagate houseplants, which I've been working on getting those potted this week, for the plant sale, I do it either in purchased potting soil or just in water to get that to grow.
Okay.
But some of the other activities, Kathy, would you like to talk about Spring into Gardening?
Yes, Spring into Gardening has already happened for this year, and it's 3 speakers usually who are a lot of them from the University of Illinois, so they really know what they're talking about. They talk about propagating certain plants. They talk about design in the garden, talk about how to grow tomatoes, and just topics of interest to everybody. And those are 3 speakers of the main event, and then we have silent auction and a live purchase place and wonderful food
Wonderful food.
Wonderful snacks.
That's something people who come year to year are always looking to see what we're going to have. One of our members chairs, Darla Chenard, chairs the Youth Gardening Committee. And for many years, they've done programs specifically targeted to kids. And that was working with homeschoolers and doing other programs at Douglas Hart Nature Center. It sometimes is growing plants. The most recent one, it was spuds in a bucket, so how to grow potatoes in a bucket. Sometimes it is beautifying gardens, making wind chimes, or making seed rolls, so that they make the paper, put the seeds in it, so then when they dry, they can be placed in a garden and grow flowers. Kathy did a project at Carl Sandburg School in Charleston, and that was teaching kids to grow marigolds, and people saved yogurt containers and
200 first graders.
Oh, really?
200 first graders
With a lot
in
of help.
about 3 hours, and lots and lots of hands. But then the kids had a plant, well, a potential plant to take home, because
That's cool.
they were learning how to plant and grow. So we try to make it very practical.
Michelle?
What's your favorite event that you guys have done so far?
Oh, just one?
Well, I mean, yeah. Whichever.
Is there one that just you look forward to, I guess, right? Yeah.
Well, I'll look forward to the plant sale being over, because I'm the chair of it, along with Kathy Heiser. And I don't know.
I don't know. I really liked a program I did last month. It was entitled
yes.
Women Need Power Tools. And it's really about empowering women to, I don't want to say take a risk, but to feel confident in their own skills, that they can pick up a power tool. So we talked about, and of course I brought power tools.
Well, and of course you have to buy new ones to do it.
Well, yes, some of them were ordering before they left the room. But this way, starting with a basic kit with a drill and a circular saw and that kind of thing in it, and then talking about battery packs and how to choose one and how it fits your needs for what you're going to do, but also can you physically and safely handle it. Those kinds of things. So I am a proponent of the battery-powered ones, and
Yeah, so you don't cut the old wire.
yeah,
Yeah.
because otherwise you cut your wire.
Yeah.
And I've
Do you have
seen
a
many
fa-
men do that.
Do you have a favorite tool?
Well, I do. It's the jaw saw, like jaw saw. It is. It's a small chainsaw, and I can cut up to a 4-inch limb or tree with it. And you can, if you have something that falls in the yard and you need to cut off the limbs and bring that big pile of stuff down to size, that's a really good one to use.
Interesting. You said something interesting a while ago too about garden design. So like when I guess you guys are the experts, and then there's the normal people that have beans, peppers, and tomatoes at home. Is there a better way to organize them, or is there a proper way so they get the best sunlight or whatever? Can you explain? Maybe give us a little cheat sheet on that.
One important thing is, if you're growing vegetables, that you rotate the crops. Like tomatoes should not be grown in the same place each year.
Kind of like corn and
because-
beans for the farmer, then, right? Yeah.
Right, because they,
Did you not know that, Michelle?
No.
You learned something.
yeah.
I even knew that.
They developed certain diseases, and if they're left in the same spot, then those diseases get worse and worse. What else?
One of the things is knowing what your soil will support.
Yes.
Where I live, I have mostly just clay.
Yep.
So I've been amending the soil with peat moss and sand and compost and all kinds of things. So it does take time. What's going to get enough sun for garden vegetables? Getting 6 to 8 to 12 hours a day is what they need to grow within the growing time that we have. How far are you from your water source? And you may think, oh, well, I'm not that far, but when you start lugging the hose or carrying buckets, that can be something that you want to think about. And you may have to move things. We've lived on the property where we lived just a little over 20 years, so what I planted for sun, like perennial flowers, they're now in the shade. So I'm beginning to move those, putting hostas and other shade-loving plants in their place and moving the perennials somewhere else.
Okay, interesting.
Diane mentioned soil. Through the extension office, you can learn how to send off your soil to be tested, because that's real important for growing.
Is that for a
certain
cost,
plants.
or will they do that for?
There
you know?
is a cost, and I'm not sure what it
Okay.
is, but the extension office can tell you that,
Okay.
and what you need to add to the soil to make it better.
And I know that you were talking on the email you sent me about there is a website people can go to Master Gardener website to kind of get some of these questions answered, or maybe find out some more information.
Yes, I have it here.
I knew you would.
Yes, okay. https:// www.facebook.com/Coles County Master Gardeners / So you
Go to Facebook
got
and
that
search
all
Coles
memorized?
Just go to Facebook,
And
Coles
put in
County
Master-
Master Gardeners will get you there.
There you go.
Another thing that Diana said before we went on the air was most people think of these as as something bad, but you said dandelions are good.
Yeah.
Dandelions are good.
Okay,
They-
explain that, because I'm sure people are out there going, wait a second.
Oh, they're
everywhere."
like thinking the bane of my life.
And we have one right here.
And we have one right here. But dandelions are the first plant that flowers. So for those early pollinators, they are the sole source of food for them. So you may see ground bees or honeybees coming out really early, feeding on those. And we don't want to put pesticides on them, because if you put herbicides to kill the dandelion on them, it can inadvertently kill the insects. So if you can wait until about May 1st before you start with chemicals, that's very helpful.
Okay. Thoughts on your mind over there?
So what plant is the easiest for like a beginner, gardener?
Dandelions are really easy. Let's see. Well, I love zinnias for flowers, because you just throw them on the ground, maybe sprinkle a little potting soil on top of them, and they bloom beautifully for a long time.
And they will reseed.
Yes.
If in the fall, when the flower heads get dry, if you just walk along and crunch them up like this, then it goes that they overwinter
There's
in the
a zinnia.
soil.
Wow.
Oh my
Very
gosh,
good.
that's fabulous.
We got some good group of kids in there.
Yeah,
helping us
yeah.
out, so.
And then in the spring they'll grow. So
So that's a surefire feel-good plant.
There you go. Mark that down as you start
Yeah.
your new life after EIU in just a few days.
But if you are growing something in a container, maybe on a balcony, a lot of people will start either with a pepper or a tomato, because then they get something out of it.
Mhm.
And those are things that you can make into salsa or bruschetta or something
Yeah.
like that. And then read on the tags, or ask the advice of someone in the garden center, and ask them, what do I need to be sure of to take care of it? One of the most common things is to be sure that the container has a hole in the bottom so they don't drown.
Mhm. And make sure that you give them enough water, but not too much water. So, yeah.
Well, I guess the question is, we're talking to master gardeners today. How does one get to be a master
Oh,
gardener?
so glad you asked. The training is through the center in Mattoon and online. Let's see, I don't have a lot on that, but
I mean,
Are-
is it continuous, or is it one time a year you have a class or a course?
usually
or how's-
once or twice a year. The Master Gardening, our advisor wrote this out. The next Master Gardening training session will be online training starting June 12th. And that's a self-guided training taken completely online. So it sounds like, I've never experienced this, that the instructors, that the sessions must be pre-recorded.
In a webinar format.
Okay. And then you can do it at your own pace, which would be great. And applications, you go to the Coles County Master Gardeners, the Coles, Cumberland, Douglas, Moultrie, and Shelby Counties Master Gardener, and online, or you can call them. And the application, the phone number is 217-345-7034. and they can give you information about it. There's also Master Naturalist
I
training.
saw that too, yeah.
Yeah, it begins August 15th, and for people who are interested in not necessarily plants, but the animals that depend on the plants, it's August 15th. And this is an in-person training that meets weekly from 5:30 to 8:30.
Okay.
So,
We're talking Diana Glosser and Kathy Hummell from the Coles County Master Gardeners. More than that, but we can always call them Coles County. I guess I'm stuck in my head there.
I know.
The spring weather has been nuts. So when you think about it, it was 85 one day. Now it's like it snowed
40.
last Saturday or whatever.
Oh, did
So
it?
what does that do to
Missed
the
that.
people who are trying to prepare and get ready to plant a garden, flowers, and anything outside right now?
I think as a rule of thumb, which is very hard for me because I get a little bit impatient in the spring, but is to wait till Mother's Day.
especially when it's warm out one
Yeah.
day.
Yes, especially when you have that 84-degree day, and is to wait until Mother's Day to put things in the ground.
Okay.
Because you want your soil temperature to be up as high as possible, and 70 degrees is
Yeah,
ideal.
because
Okay.
tomatoes won't do a thing except rot if you try to put them out
Oh,
before
really?
the plant.
And
Yeah.
I know probably people are because you get that one nice day, right? And you try-
Right,
right.
right.
and you want to take advantage of it. So.
Uh-huh.
The other thing that's becoming so popular across the country is these community gardens that share with neighborhoods and share with local restaurants. So do you see that becoming something that's going to happen more around the Coles County area where we're at with more community gardens and things like that?
I hope so. We have one at our Wesley United Methodist Church in Charleston. It's a community garden. It's beautiful. Raised beds and mulch on the ground. It's gorgeous. But yeah, I think that's more of a
I think
I think
it
coming thing.
is a trend. I think it's a very welcome trend because most often there's someone there who has some knowledge. They can help people learn and gain confidence in what they're doing while they're also supporting that community project and sharing food. Usually, extra produce will go to the food pantries in whatever community that they're serving or to a church's pantry. Fit to Serve in Mattoon has had gardens established for 10 years now,
Oh, really?
maybe.
least, yes. Uh-huh.
Some of the churches have gardens. Near the public health department, there's a food forest.
Oh, really?
And
Okay.
it's in the back parking lot, and I encourage you to visit it. They have very good signage that will tell you about the plants or the planting method that they're using to
Yep.
give people information.
One nice thing about a community garden is that you start out with a small plot. Some people have grandiose ideas. Oh, I'm going to plant these rows of corn and beet, and it overwhelms. So this is
Maybe start small and build up.
yes, definitely.
And
Definitely.
Master Gardeners have what we call Plant a Row. And this year, we're really focusing on restoring the soil and using use of some cover crops, and that's also at the hospital property.
Have you guys partnered with anyone on the Eastern Campus? I know that they have like a club or something like that. I don't know.
No, we haven't. No, but they be welcome to get in touch.
Reach out,
Okay.
right?
Right,
There you go.
right.
I know they had a club and they were doing some composting
Mm-hmm.
and some planting that was led by maybe a graduate assistant in biological sciences.
You talked about watering a while ago, Kathy. How often? I mean, should people water? Their plants, their outside plants, even their inside plants, I guess, as well.
That's a big question.
Well, that's why you're here.
All right. If it hasn't rained within, I'm talking about outside now, if it hasn't rained within the last week, at least an inch, then it's probably time to water. Inside plants, if you stick your finger in the soil up to the first knuckle and it's all dry, then it's time to water, probably, except for succulent plants. And I still haven't answered that. I'm used to ferns and things that like a lot of water, and that soil looks so dry, you poor little thing. And I haven't mastered succulents yet. Do you have anything else to add about watering?
If you have vegetable plantings in the ground or even around your flowers, you might want to mulch, lightly mulch with either commercial mulch or straw, grass clippings if they haven't been treated with an herbicide.
One thing about grass clippings, though, I've found, unless you kind of sprinkle them on and break them up, they they kind of harden and become water repellent, the grass
Oh,
clippings.
okay.
So maybe mix it with something or wait till they dry out and then put them on.
Or maybe just a few, I don't know. Just-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Around here in the Coles County area, is there a toughest like fruit or vegetable to grow? I mean, you have that people come to you and say, "Man, I just can't grow this." Does that ever happen?
I've been frustrated with lavender. I've tried to grow that, but I planted some lavender in the milk carton, and I've got little teeny tiny plants now, so keeping fingers crossed.
Anything tough to grow around here that you think, fruit or vegetable or
Well,
flower?
at my house, anything is tough to grow because
No,
of the
and
deer.
that's-
Okay.
Oh,
And-
yes.
So they eat everything. They
they
have
do.
jumped over everything. They have just, and they're eating things that typically are on the like deer resistant list. So I
Yes.
I have kind of given up except for things that we put up on the balcony. But I think that is to be sure that when you purchase the plants that they're zoned for this area, which is 6A. If you get things that are too far south, it gets too cold here.
They just become annuals then.
They just yeah.
Okay.
They will become an annual, or they don't flourish the way you would like them to.
We have about a minute and a half left today
Oh,
with Coles County Master
time
Gardeners.
goes
Anything
so
that I did
fast.
not that you want to get out that that in case there's something out there that's important that you want to talk about, because we're running out of time,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah. We will be doing a workshop on this planting in the fall, so
Okay.
this kind of planting. So be looking for that.
Again, our plant sale is Saturday, May 13th from 9 to 12 at Lytle Park in Mattoon. And, that will be the day before Mother's Day, so it will be time to help your mom plant those things outside when the time comes. And when I need to know what a plant is, I downloaded the app Seek, S-E-E-K, which is part of iNaturalist, and I've been very happy with it.
That's
Easy
kinda-
to use.
Very good. Well, thank you both for coming.
Thank you.
I appreciate
Always
it
a
so
pleasure.
much. And we'll do it again in a year. How about that?
How about?
I want to spend a
Thanks,
few
Jeff.
seconds with my friend over here, Michelle. Michelle's graduating. Congratulations.
Yes,
as long as you
thank
pass
you.
all your finals, right?
Right.
So, again, thank you for this year, Michelle. We wish you nothing but the best of luck. I hope you had fun on Issues and Attitudes, and hopefully you learn a few things.
Yeah, I did about plants today.
And she likes broccoli leaves, kind of.
Yeah, did pretty good.
So, Michelle, do you have a favorite vegetable you love?
No.
Favorite
Maybe zucchini. Actually.
Fruit?
Zucchini.
Mhm.
Fruit, blackberries.
Favorite flower?
No.
It's all about you today now, these last few seconds.
I don't know. I don't think I have a favorite flower.
And one more thing, there's just not enough time. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get one more question in. So thanks, Michelle. Thanks to you, ladies. Everybody have a great day. We are WEIU.